All right, guys, let's talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Marvel Cinematic Universe had a tremendous run from the year 2008 to 2019. 22, 23 films. For the most part, most of them were very, very good. Kevin Feige did a tremendous job as the leader of Marvel Studios. I had no problems with him whatsoever. Not every movie was great, but for the most part, they were pretty good. No identity politics for the most part. It was just telling good stories with great actors. And that's the way it should be. But now we're entering phase 4 of the MCU. Phase 4 is going in a completely different direction. Kevin Feige has had an awakening. He has become so woke now. Why? I have no idea. I believe in the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, Kevin Feige, he's been on record that phase 4 of the MCU is going full identity politics. It's going full SJW. It's going full woke. I know I sound like a broken record, but when you get woke, you go broke. And I think he should know that based on all of the movies that came out in 2019 that were completely woke, they all went broke. Now, Kevin Feige may think he's Teflon when it comes to these MCU movies. He's probably thinking they can't suffer the same fate as these other movies. So that brings me to The Eternals. The Eternals comes out later on this year, later on this fall. We haven't heard anything about this movie. We don't know the story or anything until now. Now, we all know that the Eternals, they did a bunch of race swapping, gender swapping, and now sexuality swapping around. Because those three things, race, sex, and sexuality, we all go to the movies for that. Said no one ever. And I guess Kevin Feige just doesn't understand that. Because the Eternals, they're going to have their first openly gay couple in the movie. So one of the actors who's actually playing the husband of one of the heroes spoke out. Not on the movie, not on the story, I should say, but on the sexuality of their two characters. Nothing about the acting, nothing about the story. It's all about the sexuality. It's all about the identity politics. These are things that turn off the audience. So let's kind of jump in and see what he says. Now, the actor I'm referring to is Hans Selman. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's playing the husband of Phastos. And this is what he said. Now, keep in mind, he didn't say anything about the story. It's all about the sexuality. So he says this. I just shot a Marvel film with the first openly gay superhero, the Eternals. I'm married to the gay superhero Phastos, played by Atlanta's Brian Tyree Henry. And we represent a gay family and have a child. Okay? So he continues on here. And he talks about a kiss that they have where everybody on set just cried. More identity politics. So talking about the kiss, he says this. Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's a beautiful, very moving kiss. Everyone cried on set. For me, it's very important to show how loving and beautiful a queer family can be. Brian Tyree Henry is such a tremendous actor and brought so much beauty into this part. And at one point, I saw a child in his eyes. And I think it's important for the world to be reminded that we in the queer community were all children at one point. We forget that because we're always depicted as sexual or rebellious. We forget to connect on that human part. Why even bring up the sexuality? Why is this the story of the Eternals. This is not getting off to a good start. For one thing, comic book movies, for the most part, are geared towards what? Kids, because little kids read comic books. Now, I don't think they brought up Phastos' sexuality in the comic books, going back in the day. Nobody cared about that kind of thing back in the day. For some reason now, identity politics takes over the story. So we know that the driving force of Phase 4 is all about representation, race, gender, sexuality. That's all that matters to them. Like I said, we know nothing about the story because I don't think that they actually care about the story. Now I get that you don't want to actually leak out what the storyline is. I get that. But why is this the talking point about a comic book movie? The sexuality. So this is just my personal opinion on it. I think that now this is actually going to turn off a lot of people from the movie. So parents may actually not let their kids go see this movie because, believe it or not, a lot of people don't want to see LGBT things on screen. They just don't. They may not say it publicly, but when it comes to it privately, they're going to say it. This is going to turn off some people. It just is. And I also believe this is just another emasculation of men. And the guy that plays Phastos, he's a black man. So I think that Hollywood, they really want to see men in this state. They don't want men to be men. They don't want men to be family men. Because I think we're getting further and further away, even in movies, from family values. The family, a mother, husband, father, they're kind of deviating away from that. And in Hollywood, they clearly have an agenda. Kevin Feige has an agenda. We know that. His agenda is pretty clear because of this. Even going into Thor: Love and Thunder, Thor: Love and Thunder is supposed to be about what? Jane Foster and Thor. But the talking point is Valkyrie. She's got to go find her queen, because she's a part of the alphabet community. That's the storyline headed into Thor: Love and Thunder. Another movie I have no desire to see whatsoever for that reason. All of these talking points on sexuality mean nothing to me. It turns me off. I don't care about whether it's, pushing all this sexuality on kids. I just don't believe in that. Let kids be kids. Just let them be kids. Nobody opens up a comic book and, you know what? That's Spider-Man right there. Is Spider-Man a black man? What is he into? Is he into men or women? Nobody reads comic books for that. Nobody goes to the movie theater for that. Nobody. We go to movie theaters to be entertained with good stories. Now, I don't know if the story of the Eternals is going to be good or not. I have no idea. But they are really, really pushing this SJW agenda on this movie because that's what they want. They want you to accept it. And if you're not, you already know what they're going to call you. So are you guys interested in seeing the Eternals? I don't plan on seeing this movie. And now, if my subscribers want me to see it just to review it, that's another thing. But on a personal level, I'm not going to see this movie. I'm just not. I am out on this movie. Just like I'm out on Thor: Love and Thunder. They've already emasculated Thor as it is. So I'm out on that. I'm completely out. But that's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? The Eternals. Are you going to see it? Do you plan on seeing it? And what do you think of this story we just talked about with Phastos and his husband? So guys, let me know what you think about all this in the comments. If you're new here to the channel, please hit subscribe to catch future videos from me. and we will catch you on the next video. John Matrixx, out.